The story begins, as all life does, with water. An abundance of water that fosters a luxuriant forest. Water engulfs Panama, the last part of the Americas to rise from the primordial ocean. It is covered now by a sea of green, the largest Western Hemisphere rainforest outside the Amazon. Vegetation blankets even the volcanic mountains. Sustained by water, life flourishes. Panama is a paradise, unless your job is to cut through it. There were surveyors sent out by the King of Spain to find a canal route across what is now Panama. They didn't find it. What they found was nearly impenetrable jungle. The first surveyors concluded there was no way to build such a canal, and nearly 500 years ago, there wasn't. Lived on. What once seemed impossible is today a wonder of the world, a human triumph, and one of the great stories of all time. An ocean giant, longer than 3 football fields, packed with thousands of truck-sized containers, steered from a bridge 12 stories high. Like dozens of other ships, it's about to enter the Panama Canal. A canal voyage demands navigation so precise that Panamanian pilots with years of experience board every vessel. A ship's captain cedes command to the specialist, who knows every inch of the route ahead. The question is, why go to the trouble of cutting a pathway for ships through 50 miles of forest and mountains? Previously, ships risked a long and dangerous voyage around South America. Shipwrecks littered the seafloor. The only alternative was to ship cargo to Panama, the narrowest part of Central America, and carry it overland to a vessel on the other side. The trek was grueling and slow, whether hauling the gold of the conquistadors or mail for California 300 years later. But it made Panama a crossroads of the world. A rail line was built when the California gold rush brought a flood of miners headed west. It has carried people across the isthmus for more than 150 years. But most of the world's commerce travels in ships, not trains. Enter a French entrepreneur named Ferdinand de Lesseps. He had created Egypt's Suez Canal. He vowed to do the same thing in Panama. De Lesseps' idea was a mammoth cut, 30 feet below sea level, all the way through the land. But Panama was not Egypt, not a dry and flat desert. Panama was crossed by a major river, the Chagres, and 8 months of rain a year drenched the land. The tropical setting was beautiful, but for workers, it was also hot, humid, and remote. Men with axes, picks, and crude steam shovels would have to dig a trench nearly a mile wide and 350 feet deep through a mountain range of solid rock. They would have to move more earth than humans had ever moved before. Worse, they would have to survive one of the world's greatest killers without even knowing it was a killer.
Mosquito?
9 years of rain, mudslides, stubborn jungle, and disease defeated the French. As many as 20,000 died. The waters of Panama washed away their dream. President Theodore Roosevelt saw a chance to control 2 oceans if the U.S. built the canal. Panama was a protectorate of Colombia. When a deal with the Colombians failed, Roosevelt sent a U.S. gunship to support Panamanian patriots. The revolution took 1 day, November 3rd, 1903. Panama was now a sovereign country. 200 years ago devised a way to sail huge ships through the wilds of Panama. Going back in time, we can see the landscape that faced the arriving Americans. They realized that their biggest challenge was the turbulent, flood-prone Chagres River, which could wipe out their work. Chief Engineer John Stevens figured out how to use the river, rather than to fight it. Instead of digging a sea-level canal, he could dam the Chagres. Ships would sail across Panama on a lake. The Americans wouldn't need to dig through the entire country. Stevens would build stair steps of water on either side to raise ships to the lake. Locks had been built before, but never on such a colossal scale. They would still have to cut through the western mountains, but not as deeply as the French. Stevens recognized that his diggers needed a reliable train system to carry the dirt away. He completely overhauled the Panama Railway. The Americans had a plan now. But they could not succeed until they stopped the diseases killing workers. The mystery was, what caused yellow fever and malaria? Most believed they came from poisonous vapors in the rainforest. But an American doctor named William C. Gorgas knew that recent research identified two kinds of mosquitoes as the disease carriers.
Oh, Lord.
Proving that mosquitoes in Panama cause yellow fever, malaria, and other diseases changed medicine. Dr. Gorgas's public health campaign saved thousands of lives and served as models around the world.
We want some of that. I want some of that spray.
The Americans mounted a huge eradication program. Within 2 years, the canal area was cleared of yellow fever. With healthier workers, the odds of success rose.
Oh, my grandfather. Father's father there. They fall over.
Mishaps and difficulties continued, but so did progress. Tourists arrived to see the great feat of engineering. It took 10 years, but with a design that turned water from enemy to ally, the canal was completed. In August of 1914, the SS Ancon made the first official passage through the canal, but the achievement went little noticed. World War I began the same day.
I tell you.
More than 1 million ships have passed through since. The canal changed global shipping, cutting the trip between the Atlantic and Pacific by 8,000 miles and 3 weeks. It's one of the most famous places on Earth. But few of us understand how the Panama Canal works. The trip starts with tugboats guiding a ship through a channel to the first line.